Welcome to Girl Dad, the podcast. I'm your host, Madeline Anderson, and I'm thrilled to bring you honest conversations with dads and daughters, sharing heartfelt stories, actionable advice, and real daughter perspectives that will help you be the best girl dad you can be. Hey, and welcome back to Girl Dad, the podcast. I'm your host, Madeline Anderson, and today we are doing a deep dive on annual family summits. The reason that I wanted to discuss this topic today is because it is very top of mind. I just got back yesterday from an incredible family trip to Park City where we actually did our first annual family summit. So today I was thinking I could share with you our experience and give you some tips on how you could go do this with your family, and also tell you why this is important for your daughters from the daughter perspective. To kick off today's episode, I would love to start by asking you when the last time is that you sat with your family and discussed who you are, your core values, and the goals that you want to accomplish. The reason that I ask this question is because this is rare. I think a lot of people just kind of go through their daily routines, they're living separate lives together, and you can still have great relationships and a strong family unit without stepping back and kind of having these bigger conversations. But when you do, it is just amazing. I mean, the connection, the understanding, the alignment that comes out of a really intentional conversation like this is incredible. So I would like to encourage you to start your annual family summit this year if you haven't already. Okay, so what is an annual family summit and why is it called that? Well, what we did is we sat together and really aligned on who we are as the Anderson family, what our core values are. We created a mission statement around those core values, and then we discussed our goals as a family and what's most important to us. So my husband actually came up with the name, The Summit, and it stuck. Apparently, he and my dad had been having conversations ahead of the trip, talking about this thing, the summit, and none of us really had any idea until my husband came with a whiteboard and some expo markers, and it just turned into this incredible time together. I think we spent about 6 hours over the course of 2 days just talking about what it means to be an Anderson and what this family is all about and what our goals are separately, but also together. So it was just an incredible conversation. I could not say enough good things. I'm feeling fired up coming out of the weekend. I know my sisters are feeling the same way. My parents are feeling the same way. And there's just so much love that we're feeling for one another. And it's all because of just this incredible time that we carved out to have these really important conversations. And I actually really love the name, The Summit, because if you think about being on top of the mountain on a summit, you can see everything so clearly, the entire landscape, right? And that's what this is. This is a zoom out so that you can look at everything across the board, plan, and come together, and then really feel good about the direction that you're going. So I love that visual. We're on the top of the summit, we're looking out at the horizon, and we're aligning on where we want to go. The first exercise that we did was my husband asked all of us what are 2 to 3 words that are representative of the Anderson core values. So you would want to go around and have everybody write down 2 to 3 words that really represent who you are and what you care about. So some examples from my family were honesty, love, enjoyment, harmony, respect, connection, accountability, gratitude, authenticity, humor, reliability, support, and family. And then my husband made us cross out a bunch of them until we ended up with 3. So that was hard, but you could kind of see some of these similar themes coming through. So he would group them together and be like, okay, these are saying similar things. Which of these is most important? And then we ended up with the 3 words of honesty, connection, and enjoyment. And that's what it really means to be part of our family. We are connected, we are honest, and we love hanging out with one another. That's the enjoyment. My littlest sister, Ella, is the one who came up with that word, and she clarified that it doesn't have to be a traditionally fun activity, for example. We get enjoyment of just being in the same room together or having a sleepover together, just being in the presence of one another. Even if it's a hard time, we enjoy each other's presence. The next step of this family summit that you can do is taking those words and forming a mission statement around them. So that's what we did. And again, this is something my husband helped with, but as a father, I think you can really lead this conversation for your family. So you can play the part of the dad in terms of, contributing to these conversations, sharing your words as well, that relate to your core values as a family. But then you can also kind of facilitate. So you can take those words and turn them into a mission statement around what you care about and who you are as a family, kind of like your pact. And if you do this exercise and you want to include a whiteboard, I would highly recommend that. And then you can write the mission statement clearly on the whiteboard. And that just really sets the tone for the rest of the conversation, because what you've now done is you've aligned on who you are and what you care about, what's most important to you as a family. And then you can talk next about your goals and your alignment on those goals. But you can always look back to your mission statement and the words that you've come up with and realize, yes, these goals fit into that statement. Or, okay, maybe I actually should reprioritize how I'm spending time or what I'm working on because I'm out of alignment with these family core values. That's kind of the big question that you want to ask yourself and support your family with and navigating, because you want to be aligned and connected. The next part of our annual family summit was a very interesting segment that was kind of more of a mature conversation. So, my younger sister is 21, I'm 28, and if you have younger daughters, this may be less applicable of a conversation, but totally up to you. It was very interesting and led to some really great conversations. And really, the theme around this conversation was money and what it means to all of us and how we want to spend it as a family. My husband, Max, again, led this conversation. He orchestrated the whole summit, but he is a financial planner by trade. So this was very on brand for him and something that he talks a lot with his clients about, and was really just an interesting conversation about how we think about money and how we want to align on spending. And I think this is really important, especially for you and your partner, because if you have different views on what money means and how it should be spent, there can be some friction involved. So this was a great exercise to just kind of align on how you think about it and what it means to you, what your goals and priorities are around spending. And then that nicely flows into the third part of the summit, the final part, which we will get into. But for this exercise, Max wrote on the whiteboard a scale from 0 to 10. And 0 was provide and protect, and 10 was enjoyment and connection. And you'll see, two of those words were actually our Anderson core values that came out of the first conversation. So it applied nicely. And I think you can kind of pull some of your words in to that scale as well, if it's applicable for you. So we had a conversation around, are we a family that wants to save everything that we earn? Are we a family that wants to spend everything that we earn? And how do we think about budgeting and spending money together? And this conversation also led to really great reflection of the memories that we have together as a family, and how some of our favorite memories were when we were camping in San Diego. We would do that every year when I was growing up until I left for college. And, we slept in a tent, we cooked over the fire, and it was just such core memories of us spending time together, super present, really enjoying each other and connecting. And so we were reflecting on the fact that cost, I think, $10 every time to book one of those campsites. So, the money does not always equal the enjoyment or the connection. I mean, actually, it does not equal the enjoyment or connection. So it was just a really important conversation around, okay, where do we want to spend money? What do we care about that costs money? What do we care about that are free memories? How can we balance the two? And it was just a really honest, open, healthy conversation around goals and alignment. And, as I mentioned, my husband is a financial planner. So it was very natural for him to kind of lead this conversation because he has this conversation all the time with his clients. And it made it, I think, not awkward because sometimes money can be an awkward conversation, but I don't think it should be because in these conversations, you are teaching your daughter real life lessons. You're helping her understand what money means, how to prioritize it, and you're also planning together as a family and aligning on what you value, which is really the theme of this summit. What do you value, and where do you want to spend your time and resources and energy? So after we finished this money and priorities segment, we then discussed our goals individually and for the family, and just kind of aligned on what we should prioritize together. So, some of the goals, we looked at our words and we looked at our mission statement and we looked at the money understanding and priorities, and we realized, this this goal should actually be moved to the top. This is exactly what we want to do. And then some other goals, we realize, okay, this is something that can be put on the back burner for now because it doesn't really align with our core values. And I think that was a really important way to kind of close the conversation because we left feeling extremely aligned. We had a very clear and specific plan with action items, and we just felt so connected, and there was just so much love shared, great laughs. Humor was one of our words as well. So it was great. We had a little charcuterie board going, and we made a whole day out of it. So I cannot recommend this family summit enough. My dad called me today and was talking about the summit again because it's just a really great way to get motivated, get connected, and aligned. And I know I've said those words a lot today, but I just think that it's really the theme of this type of event. Okay, so let's say you're going to do it. You're going to do your annual family summit. What would you do to make it more special and more effective? My first tip would be to make the setting special. The best thing would be to do it not in your typical routine, so not in your home. We were very lucky because we were already on a trip and we had booked this ski trip months and months in advance, which, there's actually no snow in Park City right now. So it wasn't quite a ski trip. It was more of a hiking trip. We actually climbed a summit, which was really funny because, it was the same day we did the summit. So it was a huge summit day for us. But anyways, we had this opportunity that we're so grateful for to be able to do this summit outside of our house. If you can, go stay at an Airbnb or find a location that is not your home, I think that would be most ideal. It is absolutely not a requirement, but just something to think about, whether it's even renting a WeWork space or some sort of public shared office, or doing it at a private room at a restaurant, or even taking a whiteboard to the park and doing it outside. Just kind of wherever you tend to not spend your time together as a family. I think it's fun to be in a new environment and connect that way. My second tip would be to encourage an open heart and an open mind going into this. Everyone has different perspectives and opinions. And, especially with the money conversation, there's a lot of different interpretations of different words. Things mean different things to other people. And I think just by starting with this open mind, open heart, and encouraging that throughout the conversation will just lead to the best outcome. I think it also kind of puts love at the forefront, right? Like if everyone has an open mind, everyone has an open heart, you're more able to communicate and clarify and discuss things that are really important with a lot of love. And my last tip to make this summit extra successful is to start and end with gratitude. I find that just kicking any sort of discussion off by just saying, I'm so grateful for this family, and each and every one of you maybe share something that you're grateful for in each of them, and just start the conversation off with love and gratitude like that. And then close it with, thank you so much for taking the time to be engaged in this. This has been so rewarding. I'm so honored and proud as a dad to hear these things. And obviously, these should be in your words and whatever you're feeling. And you can also encourage your family to share what they're grateful for and their biggest takeaways of the event. But I just think gratitude is so important. And again, it just sets the scene and closes the scene with a lot of love. And the last quick conversation that I wanted to discuss today was why this matters from the daughter perspective. So, why your daughters get a lot of value out of these annual family summits. First, I think daughters love to see intentional leadership from their fathers. So it feels really good to look up to your dad and watch them and learn from them and see what it means to lead and to direct and to value others' opinions. It's just something that your daughter will appreciate and admire to see you in that setting. Another reason that I think this summit is really valuable for daughters is because it helps create this sense of belonging and identity for your daughter. So she knows who she is because of these conversations. She knows what it means to be part of this family, what you stand for, what you care about. And I think there's just so much love and connection within this conversation that she just is feeling a really strong sense of family security and connection. And that kind of feeling is so powerful for women, especially young women. And I talk about that a lot. I say that knowing that your dad has your back is so powerful. Well, doing this family summit is such a great way to show your daughter that you have her back, because even just asking her what she cares about, what her values are, what words come to mind when she thinks about the family, that means she's important. That means you care. That means you have her back and you're there for her. So, yeah, just a lot of really great emotional feelings that can come up for your daughter. And kind of related to that, the last reason that I think this is especially great for daughters is it teaches her that her voice matters. It empowers her to be able to speak up, and you're giving her the microphone. You're telling her, "I want to hear what you have to say." And that builds confidence and just, again, her sense of identity and self-worth. So that's really all I have for you today. I hope this was an inspiring episode, and I really hope that you'll be doing your own annual family summit. And if you do, please share some of the words that you came up with, or your mission statement, or just some of the takeaways and outcomes. I love to hear all about it, as you know, and I just want the best for you and your family. And with that, I hope you have a great rest of your day. If you're not already following or subscribed, please do so, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Thank you for tuning in to Girl Dad, the podcast. If you found today's conversation helpful, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a fellow Girl Dad. I read every review and truly take your words to heart. To close out, remember, your intentional moments make lasting legacies. See you next week.